As Jason and BC hop down off from the flying train, BC can tell that Jace is still having a hard time with thoughts running through his head, and she decides to say something jokingly, like he did about Root. That scar really matches your eyes, Jace. Silently, Jace readjusts his new cloak and proceeds forward, trying to think of something to say in return. BC follows without saying much else after that, while Root stays behind to snack on some fresh cactus nearby. Jace is speechless for a while longer before taking a deep sigh, trying to step as quickly and gently as possible to feel that he had a sense of purpose in the path he was making. But it isn't long before the flashbacks start happening again. It was the night of the awakening. His body was small, but his goals were big. His mind surrounded by a furious hate so strong that all other emotions had disappeared into Broski's growing presence. Jace's mind returns to the present day after seeing the faces of his loved ones being murdered by his own hands. He finds BC walking closely beside him, just like a few days ago when she was blind. She must have grown accustomed to the feeling of having someone near her, Jace thought to himself as BC peeks over at him. After a few more steps, BC can't help but let out a single tear down her cheek, only to quickly brush it away, trying to hide it by pretending to scratch an itch on the face. Remembering back to only days before meeting Jace, a meek, defenseless, mindless child at the age of 8, deliberately giving herself to any passing dweller in hopes that they would spare some food. I can't believe I am standing beside someone who I used to hate with every fiber of my being, she thought to herself, and continues thinking. Long live, long live our leader Broski, the one who gave his people everything they could ever hope for. One of many common cackles that could be heard from the horrors that took place in the Devil's Playground. As BC gazes at the sandy terrain beneath her, she tries to shake these thoughts, her footsteps digging into the loose sand, holding her firm in believing she will never have to walk on that compacted earth again. In the distance, Jace notices a sandstorm gathering and mentions it to BC, who growing up in the desert begins to cover her face and body as there was not much as there was not being much shelter around. Jace stares blankly at her, seeing the blissfulness of its simplicity, before throwing a hard jab into the ground, creating a well-formed 4-foot pothole. Jace informs BC to jump down inside to protect herself from the events ahead. BC is hesitant at first, but remembers to believe in Jace and that he knows what he's doing. All right then, she says, mostly to herself. As BC climbs down into the hole, Jace faces the storm, and as it engulfs him, he is an impressive open-handed uppercut, causing the storm to split and disperse into nothing. As the rift distinguishes the storm, a small mechanical vehicle falls from the sky with a man inside screaming, "Oh shit, we're going down here." The man in the machine crashes with a heavy, crumpling sound into the sand only a few yards away. Helping BC out of the pothole, the two of them approach the crash site and find a small but lanky-looking man struggling to get out of the crushed cockpit, growling swears under his breath. After finally freeing himself from the contraption, he looks over at the two of them, who are looking puzzled but also concerned. The little man squints at Jason BC for a few seconds before falling to his knees and bowing. Broski, I have been fucking looking everywhere for you. Your followers are ready and awaiting your next command. Jace does his best to act the part and attempts to get this mystery man to inform them of who he is. Why don't you fucking tell me who the fuck you are first, you dumb piece of shit? The man begins to look a bit puzzled, but continues thinking Broski is just messing with him. Fuck, I'm sorry. It's me, your faithful henchman, Boneyard. We are awaiting your wishes, my supreme leader. And who is ready? I don't see anyone else with you. Prove to me what you say is true. Jace spat his words, and BC, unsure of what is taking place, begins to shake in confusion. Boneyard takes a step back, looking guarded, replies, You know, of course, your legion of followers, the ones you train to kill and destroy without question, your successors. Jace is empty for words by this new information, but luckily Boneyard carries on the conversation. I was headed to the goddamn devil's playground like you had planned when my fucking machine stopped working for me. I must have made a stupid error somewhere within the design. Jace grips his cloak and can feel himself starting to slip into madness. That is Broski once more, while trying to find the words to come up with to prolong the conversation. But BC notices and begins being just as curious as to what Broski had in store for her. Home continues to question Boneyard. Can you tell me where they all came from and how many of them there are? Boneyard looks up at BC and spits near her feet as to say, Fuck you, you worthless pet. But before another second can pass, Jace has Boneyard pinned to the ground by the throat in a death grip, as if to say, No, fuck you, you scumbag. Jace says to the vulgar man with disgust on his face, Tell us everything you know or I'll kill you right here and now. Jace says with a threatening stare. Boneyard has trouble speaking but doesn't resist Jace's command. Like I said, I was headed to the Devil's Playground to find the sun symbol. It will help to create a portal to another dimension where some of the most bloodthirsty lunatics live. There you will lead as your right hand. After he wheezes a few times, caused from the stress of Jace's hand on his throat, he continues to spill his knowledge of Broski's plan. They will help us to take over the earth, enslaving mankind and bringing what's left of its present existence to an end. With the Devil's Playground being the most concentrated point of evil, it will be made as a center point for us to open the portal. Now please let go of me, your greatness. I beg of you. Boneyard squeaks, beginning to turn a shade of red in his face. Jace releases Boneyard, who gasps deep breaths as he crawls away from him. May I have your family pendant? The one you carry around your neck, Broski? The one with the emblem embedded on it? Boneyard asked, trying to hide some form of urgency. You mean this? Jay says, taking it off and giving into his demands, hoping to learn more about what is being planned by the evil tyrant Broski. This really feels wrong, Jace. What if it holds some great importance? BC blurts out, too late to stop Boneyard from snatching it away with delight and turning it over again and again, muttering to himself while laughing and going into bursts of rage at the same time. Jace now turning his attention away from Boneyard and argues back, but it might help us to gain more information about what he is planning. Shouting out the confirmation of its authenticity to no one but himself, Boneyard starts to rummage through the wreckage of his machine strewn across the desert floor. It's got to be around here somewhere. Aha! The two of them stare and watch in astonishment as Boneyard engineers a new construction at remarkable speed, and before either one of them step in to stop him, he and his new machine blast off with nothing left behind but a sound of metal scraping metal and the crackling boom of the engine. You really shouldn't have given him that medallion, Jace. It could have been really important, BC states shyly, expecting to be yelled at in return. No, you're right, BC. Let's go after him and get it back immediately, Jace replies, preparing his back to carry BC with him. As one noise fades, another one starts in the opposite direction. It is Root moving across the desert as a blazing speed of light, fully stuffed and looking for BC's pocket, which had become Root's most common nesting spot. With Root squeezed back its newly found home, it fits itself, barely able to house itself comfortably, and the three of them start their chase after Boneyard, who is now fully out of sight. As Jace races across the sand, he ponders to himself on how Root could have tracked down BC from such a long ways away, and decides to ponder the thought at another time. With Boneyard still unseen on the horizon, BC speaks up, having trouble holding on to Jace's aggressive stamina. Hey Jace, I don't think I can keep going at this pace. I'm not built for this sort of thing. Stopping in his tracks, she catches herself hard against his back before finishing her thought. Maybe we should regroup with Zen and report to him about this new information. Jace strains his eyes, unable to see Boneyard still, and beginning to worry for worried for BC's safety, as she is having trouble with simply holding on. Replies, Zen isn't as strong as he used to be, but is wise in years. You have the right idea, though. Let's hope that Broski's legion does not follow us back along the way. Turning back and headed from the direction they were just running away from, Jace reduces his speed, allowing BC to keep from falling off. A few moments later, they pass by the cactus where Root had first started snacking beside the train's departure. They look over at the never-ending depth that surrounds the Temple of Rise and see that everything seems to be normal from a distance, and keep pushing forward to the lonely mountain where Zen lives. Jace can't help but take a look back one last time and is surprised to see an explosion take place inside the city's walls. Jace, we have to help them. We owe it to them at the very least. BC hollers after hearing another explosion too far inside the city to see. Root squeaks in what looks like agreement as it tries to free itself from the firm grip within the clothing's pocket. Quick to think. Jace picks up a piece of what is left of the devoured cactus and yells, "Fetch!" BC's shirt pocket turns to shreds as Root takes off in what looks like a form of a giant bird of electricity for the tasty treat now sailing over the sea below. Jace throws BC over his shoulder before taking off for the rise himself, and uses the dense lightning trail left behind by Root as stepping stones. As he goes along the path led by the Rutaga, Jace finds his path has run out as Root has obtained the desired snack. Making a final leap off of Root's disappearing energy route, they safely find their way to the ledge of the outer region of the city. Remembering that his presence is not welcome within the borders, Jace once again begins to feel uneasy upon his arrival. Hello? Where is everyone? BC calls out in hopes for someone to respond back, but is only answered by 3 more explosions, each one becoming closer than the previous one. A lone guard covered in blood emerges from the demolished building. "Oh God, please help us," he screams. But before he can say another word, he's pulled back into the shadows of the alleyway, only to be blown to smithereens by another great explosion. In surprise, Root takes defensive action, swooping up BC with a powerful electrical bird cage before lifting off back high into the sky. An unknown voice snickers as it speaks. You shouldn't have come back here." Its voice filling the area as if it is coming from even the walls itself. Jace, unable to find where the enemy is coming from, slams his hand on the ground, making the ledge beneath him crumble. As the ground breaks away, what looks like a ninja dressed in black pops itself out of the ground with nothing but a slit for its eyes. On its suit, the number 87 is written in a different shade of black, and Jace can only assume that it is the ninja ranking. As Jace looks for its eyes, he can only see endless darkness and 2 small beads of light peering out of the attire. It begins to step lightly, holding what looks like thin, sharp strings of wire which run through the buildings and ground, held tightly in one hand. Jace believes this monster must be one of the followers of Broski, and even though he has been shunned forever from the Rise, he feels he must do whatever it takes to stop the evil intruder from destroying it. I won't let you destroy this home of justice and healing, Jace yells, reaching out to grab a hold of the ninja. In surprise, the ninja refuses to evade Jace's advances, and once within Jace's grasp, explodes, all the while holding a wicked smile underneath its partially covered face. Gah! Jace shouts in shock as he is thrown back from the explosion. As the smoke clears, has the smoke clears, the ninja is gone and Jace hangs from the outer edge of the cliff. Can't say I saw that one coming, Jace says to himself, and with a quick tap of his foot and a flip, he returns back standing on the pristine marble ground, only to be surrounded by the same wires all held by another ninja. The ninja smiles cruelly through his mask at Jace and reaches down to the line that is within arm's reach. As it plucks the wire, a huge explosion is seen from within the city once more, and the sounds of tearing screams can be heard. Again, the ninja appears to grin even wider. Remaining face to face with his victim, but Jace treats the threat as a bluff and grins back villainously. Before having time to react, Jace grabs the vile ninja once more, setting off many more trap wires which release explosions, causing the building all across the city to collapse. As one ninja falls, another shows up in his place, and Jace and the ninjas become engulfed in countless explosions. BC pulls the remains of her tattered shirt to her as she overlooks the battle for within Root's birdcage, high above and far away, and can see that most of the location is now on fire. The triangle-shaped pillar that the entirety of the city and its region sits on is now turned to fire by all the chaotic explosions. As another ninja falls to ashes at Jace's feet, the voice fades away. Ha ha ha. Jace looks around wildly at the flames of the crumbling city, and as he calms his nerves further, looks at all the destruction caused by him and the countless ninjas. Becoming uneasy, he can't help but think that there is more to those ninjas than what he previously thought. Perhaps the followers of Broski had planned this, knowing that his attempts would only do more harm than good to these people. Jace pondered to himself, still feeling terrible for not being able to do a better job protecting everyone. BC and Root fly back down, and Jace frantically signals for them to hurry up and leave before he is spotted by the people of the Rise. But it is too late, as everyone is already coming out to see who stopped the explosions. The same monk who spotted Jace from their first arrival was holding a small injured child and was the first to speak up. Jace, even though you were forbidden to return to our land, you did so anyway, knowing your judgment. Our entire temple and city is now destroyed, and most of our people are no more. But we are still here, and without your help, it is clear that the forces of evil that was upon us would have made sure to finish us off for good. As the old monk finishes, the remaining people gather around Jason BC, showing their respects and thanking them for trying their best to protect the home that they love. The elder monk speaks up once more. Jace, you have become less of a villain and more of a hero every time we see you. Please feel that your presence is welcomed here as much as our presence will be with you eternally, and continue to venture on in making this world a pleasant one for all. As he points his finger towards BC, Jace responds meekly, "It was BC who insisted we It is BC who insisted we come to your aid. She is just as much of a hero as I am." The crowd gives a soft-hearted cheer for the both of them, and they make their way to one of the remaining structures where they are given a new tailored clothing with high resistance to tears and the elements due to their frequent encounters with trouble. Being asked to stay for dinner, the people of the Rise do their best to prepare what they can from the rubble, but Jace insists that they must go to see Zen. "We must get back before our newfound information about Broski becomes useless," BC adds in. "Maybe we could bring Zen back here to the temple. I'm sure his wisdom could be greatly used here as well." With that said, Jace races for the door without finishing the conversation to bring Zen back, forgetting that he can't cross over the endless pit without a means of help. Everyone, including BC, sits for a second wondering why Jace left without anyone, only to see him return with excitement still in his eyes. "Is there any chance we can use the flying train outside to go collect him?" Jace asks, completely devoid of thought of what had just happened to the entire expanse on which the city and temple rest on. The monks look at one another and talk in hushed tones to Jace's request, and once more we find Jace and BC on the flying train, but this time there's someone who came along with them.